This is Co-op HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community. Hello and good afternoon. I'm Kanya Lyons. I'll be your host today. Welcome to Volumes. Today our guest is Anthony Poe, who works at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch. And we're going to talk to him about the branch and the neighborhood and the work he does there with the community. We're also going to get to know him, his love for music, and talk a little bit about the music collection at the Austin Public Library. So welcome, Anthony.
Thank you for having me. This is pretty awesome.
We are so glad that you took time to come to the studio today. So I guess before we kind of start talking about the library, let's get to know you a little bit. Where are you from?
Well, I'll tell you what, I am an Army brat, born in Germany. Getting back to the States around 11. I went to high school in San Antonio, Texas, and finished college in Lubbock, Texas. I'm a Red Raider.
Right on.
Yeah. And so I came to Austin in about 2000. And I tell you what, now I suppose after all that time, I'm an Austinite.
You are indeed. People move here and within a day they're saying they're an Austinite. So you definitely earned that Austinite status.
There we go.
Well, wow. So that must have been a real shift going from, kind of being an international, living internationally to living in a very small town in Texas.
Definitely.
What's your earliest memory of going to the library?
It's funny that you would mention that because working for APL is very evocative. So what I mean more precisely is that if a mother and child, for example, approach my desk, I'm taken right back to when my mother used to bring me to the library. And it was a very safe feeling and stuff. And so, it's like I have, it's almost like that happens to me a few times a day. And it's really wonderful because it's a very, like I said, safe memory. And the library, we both know everything happens at the library.
Indeed it does. It's a really incredible meeting place for our community. So what brought you to the Austin Public Library? 7 years ago, you said?
Yeah, it's been about 7 years. And, it was like a soft landing type of thing. I graduated from Texas Tech with an advertising PR degree. And, it's like I use those skills, in my day-to-day existence at the library. And like I said, like a lot of people, as far as the library is concerned, prior to working there, I thought just books.
Right.
But of course, there's a little bit more to when I say everything happens at the library. That means then it's a very great place to work because no days are the same. They're the same in some ways, but different in others. And surprisingly, much more than books. Again, everything happens at the library since we serve such a varied community. So that has been lovely to find out. And it's more than a job. When you assist someone at the library, when they, it may sound a little corny, but when they turn around and tell you thank you, they really mean it. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. You know what I mean? So I tell you, when I get the sleep out of my eyes, get to work and start functioning, I am there and tell you what, in such a wonderful place to work along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so if you're just joining us, listeners, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at koop.org. We have show details at library.austintexas.gov/volumes. And today we are talking with Anthony Poe, who works at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch. And we're just getting to know him a little bit. So when you first came to work at the library, you worked at the old Central Library.
I did.
And, that has since closed. So what was your first job at that library?
Well, I tell you what, I worked in distribution and circulation. And so, we then, just like you might imagine, things coming in, things going out. Mm-hmm. And, it's really something for a city this size to have such a healthy library system. When you look across the nation, coast to coast, I mean, it's really pretty fascinating. And so you come into contact with, so many different types of people. And, the library encompasses such a wide, variety of services. And, so there tends to be a lot of neat experiences in that sort of vein. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so what was it like to go from, the really fast-paced central library to this neighborhood branch where you really get to kind of have a more personal interaction?
I tease, I tell people I just hate talking. I hate it, but actually that's, like I said, teasing because I do love it. So, when you go from the big fast-paced main library branch to the smaller branch, of course, you're able to then have a little bit more engaging of the customers as they come in. And that keeps you on your toes in a good way, too, because, we just have all types of people with all types of experiences, and they're all bound together by the fact that they all have library cards. And so, to me, it's something that, the energy at the library never lags. There's always something to do, and to me, that is really incredible. You know what I mean? So, I'm not getting any younger, but because of the library, I am in contact with my youngest spirit, and that's really
amazing.
It's fantastic,
So let's talk a little bit about the Willie Mae Kirk Branch. So, like, what kinds of services are most popular there?
Well, I tell you what, there since it's a little bit of a lower income area, we then are the go-to for a lot of the computer services. Mm-hmm. So, since now you can't fill out a job application, for example, with pen and paper. You really need to go get to a computer. And so we're there to help a lot of the people in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. With regard to that sort of service, so their computer needs may be first, but they still tend to check out a lot of other items as well.
Yeah, and so a lot of people just think, the library is all books, but a lot of people check out music, CDs, DVDs, movies,
DVDs, Blu-rays, and it's amazing because with that library card, what you'll find is in a lot of the different items that you just mentioned, we get the new stuff.
Yes.
We have it, and it's really incredible. Whether you're talking about new books, whether you're talking about new music, whether you're talking about new movies, we have it.
It's true.
Yes, and so a lot of people, once they realize that, they understand what an incredible experience it is to have a library card.
No, absolutely. I'm always like, for me, it's like, why buy when I can borrow, right?
Yeah, true.
I love that. So people come in, they use a lot of computers. Mm-hmm. They come in, they check out materials, and then y'all do some programs. So there's like a chess club and some other programs.
There's been a long-running chess club, and my buddy, Daniel, he runs the chess club, mm-hmm. and Daniel has been running that thing for about 15 years. I tell you what.
He's been at the branch that long.
Daniel Hutron.
Oh, my goodness.
And so, they've been doing, that. Then we have a lot of our youth services, is stationed there. So we have a lot of programs for the kids.
Like story times
and
movies. Do y'all screen movies there for the kids?
Now from time to time we may, but again, a lot of varied services, a lot of things that like I said, for the kids mm-hmm. and for the teens mm-hmm. as well, and stuff, because they're not kids anymore and stuff, and so it really has been a soft landing for me with regard to working for APL.
Absolutely. And so having spent a little bit of time at your branch, at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch, I noticed you get a real diverse set of people. I mean, there are Spanish speakers.
Yes, there are.
There are kind of all different types of folks that are using this library for different purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something that really keeps us on our toes. We since we can engage the patrons more at the smaller branch, we really tend to look forward to their feedback. Mm-hmm. And before I knew it, working at the smaller branch, next thing you knew, when a patron would enter into the branch, I knew them by their first name.
Yes.
Hey, come on in, come on down. And that's been really amazing. There's a comfort level that's awesome, and tell you what, and it's their place, you know what I mean? And it really is pretty incredible the way that all fits together, in a sense. And you get such a sense of community, which is really great. I mean, now some of the people who were once patrons, I consider them associates to a certain extent, and that's really great. With regard to me earning my living that way, just fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it really has a familial feel. So we're going to get more into this right after some brief announcements about upcoming library programs. We'll just continue this conversation.
Let's do it.
But I wanted to take a moment to mention that the Austin Public Library's Windsor Park branch at 5833 Westminster Drive is going to be closed starting on Friday, January 19th at 6 p.m. They're going to close for a complete renovation, and the renovation is anticipated to take about 6 months, give or take, because working with contractors, there's not ever a set date when exactly they're going to be done, but, about 6 months from now, it'll reopen. So there are a lot of details about the renovation project on the library's website, which is library.austintexas.gov. So just keep that in your hat. We're about to hear some librarians recommend some events that are happening throughout the Austin Public Library system. And then after that, we'll hear some co-op announcements. And then we'll get right back into this conversation with Anthony Poe.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a librarian at the Central Library. Each week, I highlight a few programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library. Our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. The next meeting of the Yarborough Branch Library's Board with Books program is Thursday, January 18th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. A wide range of modern and traditional board games are available to play, and participants are also invited to bring a board game to play with the group. Board with Books meets the third Thursday of the month at the Yarborough Branch Library from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., and the next meeting is Thursday, January 18th. The Millwood Branch Library's Classic Hits Book Club will be discussing Saul Bellows' The Adventures of Augie March, Monday, January 22nd, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The book club discusses a classic novel the fourth Monday of each month.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the Downtown Central Library here. The new Central Library's teen area has all kinds of unique and special features, and one of my favorites is our board game collection. Our board games are now available during all open hours, exclusively for teens. Our collection features 60 titles to choose from co-op games like Pandemic and Mysterium, to party games like Secret Hitler and Dixit, to new titles like Tokaido and Exoplanets. Want to play but you're not a teen? Our entire game collection is open to all ages during Tabletop Tuesday, every Tuesday night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. More details for these and additional programs can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events.
This is Ann Minner, Managing Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to highlight some recurring Austin Public Library events happening for children this season. During the first 2 years of life, babies learn about their world through their senses. Anything that they can see, smell, taste, hear, or touch adds to their discovery of the relationships between their bodies and the environment. Our Books and Babies Storytime programs are made especially for babies up to 18 months. We present lots of songs, rhymes, movement, cuddles, and a book or two to engage babies with their caregiver and their environment. This season, our wonderful baby-friendly staff are offering Books and Babies programs in the following branches. Mondays at the Twin Oaks Branch at 2 p.m., Tuesdays at the North Village Branch at 10 a.m., and the Housen Branch at 2 p.m., Wednesdays at the Pleasant Hill Branch at 11 a.m., and the Spicewood Springs Branch at 11 a.m., and Fridays at the Old Quarry Branch at 2 p.m. Details about the Books and Babies programs are at library.austintexas.gov/events.
Capital Metro invites the public to hear about the proposed transformation of the Austin Region's bus system. For more information, you may visit capmetro.org/June 2018.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
This is Joe,
Martha,
and Lisa,
co-hosts of Writing on the Air.
Do you like to read?
Do you like to write?
We do too, and we love bringing you the best authors and other creative types from Texas and beyond.
Listen to Writing on the Air every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Voted Best Book Discussion in the Austin Chronicle's 2015 Best of Austin.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m.
on 91.7 FM
or koop.org.
Hi, listeners. Welcome back to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Today, we're talking with Anthony Poe, who works over at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch. Welcome back, Anthony.
Hey, I'm here.
So we were talking, and so the Willie Mae Kirk Branch is kind of tucked away near Oak Springs Airport.
It's 3101 Oak Springs, and so we are a little bit tucked away, but I tell you, well worth the search. And one of a big part of such a huge, incredible system. So, tell you what, it's yours, Austin. Come get it.
It's one of the gems in our system, I think.
There we go.
So, you're obviously a people person.
I am a bit of a people person. So shy, so demure. No, just kidding.
So how has that trait helped you in your work at the library?
Well, I tell you what, like I said, working down at the main branch was one sort of experience, but working at Willie Mae Kirk, the patrons are really, you get a chance to really engage them, and bring them along in their experience. Let them know everything that the library can offer them. We have and are so proud of our online presence, and I tell you what, seeing people work through their situations or their different needs, using the library as a tool is just so rewarding. You know what I mean?
No,
and then when the
absolutely.
kids come in, I always tease and I tell the the parents that the kids they're our future leaders, and the library is there to hone that, and it is a tool to be used and mined. I mean, if you, like I was just mentioning, our online presence, you can check out a DVD or you can study in one of our, extensive databases if you want to be a lawyer. It is really incredible, and the experience is there to be taken as far as you might want to take it,
Yeah, it's a really a good place for, sort of self-motivated people. And
certainly, or for people who are looking for motivation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That can be offered to them as well. And I tell you what, I think it's just really fantastic. And, it's something that really does yield such a positive sort of experience for someone. And one thing leads to another. So that happens at the library. You know what I mean? And so one thing leading to another, you're off on a journey before you know it.
So you might come in looking for just one thing, and then you discover all these other things.
You do. Whether you're browsing or you come in for something exact, we've got you covered from each point down the line.
Absolutely. And so this is not your first time to be on the radio. You were telling me you had a radio show in college, right?
I did. I worked on the radio in college, and again at Texas Tech University. I had a show called Potpourri, a little play on my last name, where I would play a new vinyl out of my record pool. Because I did DJ while I was in college for about 22 years. Now, I wasn't in college for 22 years. I wasn't in college for 22 years, but it kicked off in college. And after I graduated, I then went ahead to DJ between Lubbock and Dallas and various places. And it culminated with me owning a club called the Kitchen Club.
All right.
That was open for 7 years. So.
And
yeah.
So, tell me about some of the music that you used to play on the radio.
Oh my goodness, we were really
or in your club.
Well, we were really a part of that second British invasion. Music by the Smiths, the Thompson Twins, Culture Club, Eurythmics, Bauhaus. Just all over the place. With Susie and the Banshees, and this was a really great time too. People partner dance, but this was at the time in Lubbock where we got a little counterculture going, and no one had to stand around looking for a partner to dance. You would just take to the dance floor all dressed in black by yourself and tear it up,
Absolutely.
And it really just went way over the top. We had such a great response until it became something unto itself, and it was called Club 100. Yeah.
Right on. Well, a lot of the British invasion artists that you mentioned, a lot of that stuff is in the library's collection now on CD.
Indefinitely.
Some of the stuff you can even stream from the library's website, which is mind-boggling.
Definitely.
So that's pretty cool. So would you mind talking a little bit about the music collection at the library?
Well, the thing about it is that, whether you know it or not, the collection at the library is so huge and varied. Whether you're looking for R&B, whether you're looking for, counterculture stuff, jazz, whether you're looking for Latin music, we have it all. I think it is really a welcome surprise. And then, it's something then that can really, again, lead you to such an incredible experience, whether you're in for entertainment, whether you're in for stuff that you already know, you're going to find it at one of our branches. So you need to come out. You need to visit.
Yeah, well, it's open to the public, and anyone is welcome to come to the library. And one thing we were talking about just during the break is that, everything in the library's collection is available to no matter. So basically, we have our catalog online. So if you're interested in a particular artist or genre or whatnot, you can find it on the catalog.
That's right.
And then, I like to find, a handful. I might be like, I'll find one book and then I'll find a bunch of other books like it.
Right.
And I'll put them on hold and then I can pick them up at the nearest library to
Right, what
me.
is convenient to you. And a lot of our, patrons find that to their liking, because it really makes the experience something that they can come into with comfort and ease. And, a lot of us really are hooked on the word convenience.
Yes. Well, it's like it just makes the library feel so much bigger. We're not limited to, what is in one location. The whole system, everything is
and
available.
That's true. Yeah.
And there's so much to choose from. I really enjoy that. Well, so what role has music played in your life and in your work?
Well, I tell you what, it has really been fantastic. I started when I was in college working at what used to be called a record store.
What's that?
And I would pick out the music for the various clubs as they would come in, and I would go through the different dividers and pick out music. And then one day, one of the club owners came in and said to me, "Can you DJ?" And I said, "Well, I've never done it before." And they said, "We lost a DJ. You want to try it?" And I said, "Well, sure." And one thing, like I was saying a little bit earlier, will lead to another, and then that led to a 22 years of DJing in all sorts of incarnations with, inclusion of live music. And I tell you what, so it's played a huge part and continues to play a huge part. And, it's really fantastic as it's turned out. You know what I mean? Quite a journey. And, it's never ending. I still consider myself to be immersed in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were saying you've got, thousands of records back at home
yeah,
still?
I did mention that because now at the height of my career, as I guess you might have called it at one time, I had about 10,000 pieces of vinyl. And even though, I hadn't DJ'd, I had the club from, say, 1991 to about 1998, I still have about 4,000 pieces of vinyl in my middle room. So, a little bit of a gold mine there, and, I just can't seem to whittle it down any more than that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so cool that you're sharing your passion for music, through the library, and you can probably help recommend stuff to
You
folks.
really hit upon a wonderful word, and it really does encompass a lot of what fuels my my time at the library, me working at the library, and that's passion. There's a lot of passion that goes on there, and like I said, once you, as a someone who works at APL, you discover that connection to community, you really are impassioned with regard to the work that you do, and that is such an incredible experience. And so that was something I didn't expect. I just needed a paycheck, but it turns out that my passion is therein, and I couldn't be happier to that extent. So the library is where it's at, people.
All right. Well, so do you want to give a shout out to anybody who might be listening?
Gosh, that puts me on the spot because there could be a few. But I would just say something to my spouse there, Justin. Hey, what's going on? See you at home later. Over dinner.
And your spouse, he works at the library.
He
also.
does. He works at Central. He's a reference librarian. So the library takes care of us in a really good way. Us and 2 cats.
That's fantastic. Well, the library is lucky to have you and Justin.
Oh, you're too kind. I tell you what, this is really fantastic. And as someone who works for APL, you get to do cool stuff like this and sit and talk to Kanye on the radio. I love it.
Well, we are so glad that you're at the library and sharing your passion for music and for people and
well, I
discovery.
hope to get a chance to do more of this because I tell you what, things are really right now on the up and up. They're definitely on the up and up.
Fantastic. Well, so is there anything else that you wanted to share, like in terms of little hidden gems at the Willie Mae Kirk Branch, things people might not be aware of?
Now, I think I was saying how evocative the experience is with regard to seeing a mom and child approach my desk. It takes me back to when my mother used to bring me to the library, which is such a safe feeling, so on and so forth. And then, like I said, too, I'd like to reemphasize the whole idea that the kids are our future leaders. I'm not getting any younger. Tell you what, I'm young at heart, but I tell you, to be in contact with that current is just fantastic. It keeps me young, and I tell you what, it keeps me enriched, enlivened, and all of those good things,
Absolutely. And I'll say that, the Willie Mae Kirk Branch is one of the libraries that's really close to where I live, and I've come in with my daughter and seen your smiling face behind the desk and just been so pleased.
Yeah.
And you were so helpful, helped us find the book she needed for her school assignment. And I was so grateful, and it really is a more personal experience.
It is, and you know what? It's really great because the patrons do it for me as well, and also the discovery that the library is much more than books. I tell you what, I can't emphasize enough how everything happens at the library, and that in itself makes it a world worth visiting.
For sure. Well, on that note, thank you so very much for being our guest today.
Hey, thanks for having me, and I'll be looking forward to my invitation back.
Yeah, well, we'll have to have you on in the future for sure, and maybe next time we'll DJ. I know we talked about playing some music, and it didn't happen.
Hey, we'll do that next time. Like I said, I got 4,000 pieces of vinyl, and sometimes even without, having the record on the turntable, I'm spinning.
Well, thanks so much, Anthony. So, this has been Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. We have show details at library.austintexas.gov/volumes. We would like to thank our volunteer, Federico Pacheco, and our new intern, Dana Williams, for their hard work helping to make this show possible. And we want to invite the listeners to stay tuned to 91.7 FM and koop.org for Rock and Roll Pest Control coming up next.
Hey, and thank you so much again, Kanya. I tell you what, we couldn't do this without you.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song, Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and koop.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.